In a quiet, quaint town nestled between rolling hills and enchanted forests, there lived a boy named Akira. He came from a middle-class family, known more for their humility than wealth. One crisp autumn morning, while exploring his family's attic, Akira stumbled upon an old, dusty telephone tucked away beneath forgotten relics of the past. It was a peculiar thing, outdated, almost magical in its appearance. Driven by curiosity, Akira wiped away the dust, sat down beside it, and, for no reason other than impulse, dialed a random number. To his surprise, the telephone crackled to life. On the other end was a voice soft,
Mm-hmm.
melodic, and undeniably sweet. The voice belonged to Yui, a girl from the wealthy village of Hanaoka, a place renowned for its rich history and the affluence of its residents. Their initial exchange was simple, but left Akira intrigued, his heart fluttering in a way he hadn't felt before. Over the coming days, Akira would call Yui again and again, their bond growing deeper with each conversation. They shared dreams, fears, and the most intimate hopes. Despite the distance between them both in status and location, Akira felt as if he knew Yui better than anyone else in the world. Yet one question lingered in his mind. Who was this girl that had captured his heart so fully? In Yui's village, Hanaoka, things were not as serene as they appeared. Yui belonged to one of the wealthiest and most well-known families in the village. She lived under the watchful eyes of her two older brothers, Taro and Haru. Taro was stern, his face often set in a permanent frown, while Haru, though kinder, was no less protective. They had reason to guard their sister so closely Yui harbored a terrible secret. Yui was cursed, a spell that caused her to age rapidly, making her appear much older than her true age. To the outside world, she was an elderly woman, but in reality, she was no older than Akira. Her brothers, bound by their love for her, had spent years trying to break the curse, but their efforts were always in vain. They feared that if anyone discovered Yui's true condition, she would be rejected, shunned by society. At her core, Yui feels trapped. She's bound by the curse that rapidly ages her body, and no matter how hard she or her brothers try to break it, she remains imprisoned within her elderly appearance. This leaves her feeling deeply isolated, as though she's living behind an invisible wall that separates her from the rest of the world. The village of Hanaoka, though beautiful and rich, feels like a gilded cage to her, a place where appearances are everything, and hers does not align with her true self. Despite her family's wealth and status, Yui feels invisible and disconnected. Loneliness pervades her daily life. Her brothers are protective, perhaps overly so, and though they love her, their constant watchfulness makes her feel more like a burden than a sister. Yui often wonders if they would lead more fulfilling lives if they weren't tied down by her curse. The thought brings waves of guilt, deepening her sense of isolation. The few times she has ventured into the village, she hides her face, afraid of judgment and pity from those who see her as nothing more than an old woman. Yet, amid this despair, Yui feels a glimmer of hope when she speaks with Akira. His voice on the phone brings light into her otherwise dim world. With him, she feels free, unburdened by her appearance or her family's expectations. The connection they share transcends the curse, and with each conversation, she finds herself daring to dream again. Akira's kindness and sincerity make her feel seen for who she truly is, a young girl full of dreams and desires, not the elderly woman the world sees. But this hope is fragile, often overshadowed by fear. Yui is terrified that if Akira ever sees her true form, he will reject her. She's caught between the joy of falling in love with someone who seems to understand her and the dread of having her heart broken if he cannot accept the reality of her curse. Every time she hears Akira's voice, her heart soars, but the weight of her secret pulls it back down. But Yui found solace in Akira's voice. Though they had never met, she felt a connection, one that transcended the limits of her curse. She knew it was dangerous to dream of meeting him, but she couldn't help but wonder if Akira's love could see beyond her outward appearance. Meanwhile, Akira's longing to meet Yui was becoming unbearable. He shared his feelings with Emi, a mysterious elderly woman in his village known for her wisdom. Emi, with a knowing glint in her eye, revealed herself to be a retired witch. She had sensed something unusual about Akira's situation and decided to help. Emi led Akira to Kuro, a powerful magician living in the deep woods. Kuro was a peculiar figure, mischievous yet kind. He listened to Akira's tale with great interest.
Aha!
So you wish to meet this girl, but you must do so in secret. Kuro asked, his eyes gleaming with mischief. With a wave of his hand, he offered Akira a solution. He would transform Akira into a duck, allowing him to fly to Yui's village, Hanaoka, undetected, and enter her house without arousing suspicion. Reluctantly, Akira agreed, trusting that Kuro's magic would help him reunite with Yui. The magician performed the spell, and in an instant, Akira was no longer human but a small duck. Flapping his wings clumsily, he soared into the air, his heart filled with hope. Akira reached Hanaoka by dusk. He flew to Yui's house, a grand estate befitting her wealthy family, landing on the windowsill of an open window. Inside, he overheard a heated conversation. Taro was scolding Yui because he caught Yui talking on phone, voice sharp and filled with worry. Haru stood by, his arms crossed, looking helpless. Akira, still in duck form, peeked through the window, and what he saw shocked him. Yui wasn't the youthful girl he had imagined. She appeared elderly, her face lined with age far beyond her years. Akira was confused, his heart racing. Unable to contain his emotions, he transformed back into his human form, startling everyone in the room. Taro and Haru immediately apprehended him. "Who are you?" Taro demanded, his tone harsh. Akira, stumbling over his words, confessed, I fell in love with an old lady. All this time, I've been talking with a grandmother." Haru, seeing Akira's genuine confusion and heartache, stepped forward. "Yui is cursed, Akira," he explained. "Every day she grows older, though inside she remains as young as you. We've tried everything to break the spell, but nothing has worked." Akira's heart ached as he realized the weight of Yui's burden. Yet, despite the shock, his feelings for her hadn't changed. He knew he had to do something. Determined, Akira returned to Emi, pleading for her help once more. Emi, her face soft with understanding, told him that the curse could only be broken by true love, by someone who could love Yui without regard for her appearance, who could accept her as she was, with no desire to change her. With newfound resolve, Akira returned to Yui's house. Standing before Yui, Taro, and Haru, he spoke from his heart. "Yui, I love you no matter what you look like. Whether you appear young or old, I don't care. I want to be with you, in any form or age." As his words echoed through the room, a soft, glowing light enveloped Yui. The curse began to lift, her aged features slowly softening, returning her to her true youthful self. Tears welled up in Yui's eyes as she embraced Akira, her heart overflowing with joy. Taro and Haru, witnessing the power of Akira's love, finally smiled. For the first time in years, they felt hope. Akira and Yui walking hand in hand through the village, their love no longer bound by magic or fear. Taro and Haru walked behind them, their protectiveness replaced by gratitude and trust. The townspeople of Hanaoka celebrate the couple's love, and the village, once so quiet, is filled with laughter and light. Akira and Yui's love, stronger than any enchantment, triumphed over the curse. And so they lived happily ever after, their hearts forever entwined.